I should have listened the first time Sam told me not to go near his house after 7 p.m. The way he said it wasn't casual, wasn't exaggerated, wasn't the kind of warning someone gives because they believe in ghosts or small-town legends. It was quiet, severe, almost like he was trying not to break down in front of me. He said it with his eyes locked on mine, barely breathing. Don't go near the house after 7. Then he left the gas station without buying anything. Just walked out fast, got into his car, and peeled off so hard his tires squealed across the concrete. I stood there like an idiot, pretending it didn't bother me, pretending he hadn't just looked like someone fleeing a burning building. But something in the way he said those words gnawed at me all night. I didn't sleep, not even a little. At exactly 7 p.m., something in my apartment clicked on. Not a knock, not a voice, not footsteps. My TV, it lit up with a buzz so loud it stung my ears. A wall of static filled the screen, pulsing like a heartbeat. That wasn't what scared me. What scared me was the shape inside the static. A tall silhouette, bending wrong at the joints, like someone who had been folded in half and put back together incorrectly. Its head tilted at a slow, unnatural angle, almost like it was trying to see me through the screen. Then 3 knocks rattled my front door. I froze in the hallway, staring at the flashing light coming from my living room. The knocks came again, harder, more deliberate. I reached over and shut the TV off. The knocks stopped instantly. That silence was worse. I barely slept that night. My brain replayed that static figure over and over. The shape, the posture, the way the static swelled around it like it was breathing. The next morning I texted Sam. I think something followed me. No response. All day nothing. Not until sunset. At exactly 6:56 p.m., my phone buzzed. It doesn't follow. It chooses. Don't watch with him, and don't answer your door tonight. I didn't even get to ask what he meant. At exactly 7 p.m., my TV turned on again. I didn't step into the living room. I stayed in the hallway, heart pounding so loud I swear I felt the floor vibrate. The static roared from the screen, brighter this time, almost white with intensity. That shape appeared again, clearer now, stretched tall and wrong. Then it spoke. Sit. I thought it came from the TV, but the sound came from behind the doorway just out of sight. The couch creaked as if someone heavy had just sat down. I choked on my own breath. I didn't move. Sit with me. I covered my mouth with shaking hands. The voice was low, warped, like it wasn't meant to exist in this world. 3 knocks hit my door again. Slow, heavy, steady. I didn't answer. Something slid against the metal, my lock jiggling, twisting, testing. A slow, patient metallic click, click, click. I grabbed my phone and texted Sam again. It's at my door. 3 dots appeared. He started typing. Then the screen flashed. Call ended. I realized he had tried calling me, and the call failed immediately. The lights in my apartment shut off one by one. The only glow was the static from the TV spilling across the walls. My phone buzzed. Not Sam. An unknown number. He wants his show. The knocking stopped. Static grew louder. Then something whispered my name. I don't remember the rest of that night in anything but images. My door handle turning slow. Static bleeding into the hallway. Shadows stretching too long on the walls. A deep hum vibrating through the floorboards. Morning came like a mercy. The TV shut off. The lights flickered back on. The apartment felt empty again, like the air had exhaled. But when I opened the door, across the hall, on my neighbor's door, scratched deep into the paint were 3 words. Watch with me. That's when I decided to visit Sam. I drove 2 hours back to his hometown, to a place I hadn't been since we were teenagers. His old neighborhood looked frozen in time. Leaning mailboxes, cracked sidewalks, yards swallowed by dead leaves. His house stood at the end of the street, small and gray, its windows dark and heavy, like eyes that hadn't slept in years. I knocked 3 times. The door flew open instantly. Sam grabbed me by the shirt and yanked me inside. "Why are you here?" he snapped. "Because something's happening to me," I said. "At 7. Same thing you." He shut the deadbolt, then the chain, then the latch, then another bolt I didn't remember the house having. His hand shook the whole time. "It's not happening to you," he whispered. "It's happening near you. That's worse." "What does that mean?" He stared at me like he was afraid of the answer. "You saw him, didn't you? In the static." "Yes." Sam swallowed hard. "That's not my dad." I froze. "He died in this living room," Sam said, voice breaking, "watching his favorite show. Mom found him, slumped over on the couch. But when she tried to turn the TV off, he looked at the old Zenith in the corner. It wouldn't turn off." Before I could react, a sound echoed through the house, a heavy thud from downstairs, then another, and another, slow, deliberate, from behind the basement door. A basement door that had 11 locks on it. Sam went pale. "He'll hear us. Don't talk." I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I couldn't even swallow. The TV in his living room clicked on. Static roared. The shape formed. Something behind the basement door pounded harder. Something that used to be his dad. Or something that had worn him like a costume. Sam grabbed my arm. "You need to leave. Now." And that's where the night shifted into a blur. A roar of static, the rattling of locks, shadows reaching across the walls, and the cold certainty that something was waking up behind those 11 bolts. I ran out the door before the third knock could hit. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe until I was pulling onto the highway. But something in my rearview mirror moved in the static of the streetlights. Something too tall, bent wrong, tilting its head slow, like it was listening to me breathe. I didn't go home. I couldn't. Not after the way the static figure seemed to lean closer every time I blinked, as if it was learning the rhythm of my breathing. I drove until I couldn't keep my eyes open, ended up at a cheap roadside motel, with buzzing lights and a sign missing half its letters. For a moment, I actually thought I'd outrun it, but the universe doesn't give you that kind of mercy. I got inside the room, locked the door, turned on every light, and unplugged the TV. I shoved a towel under the door, sat on the bed with my back to the wall, waiting for something, anything, to let me know I was safe. Nothing happened. Until 7 p.m. On the digital clock, the numbers flickered. 6:59, 6:59, 6:59. Then they jumped to 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, over and over, like the time itself was glitching, and the unplugged TV, that old, thick lodge-style unit bolted to the dresser, flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. Then it lit up with static, as if it had never been unplugged. My chest tightened. I backed into the corner of the room, trying not to cry, trying not to scream, because the static wasn't empty this time. It was swelling, forming the outline of that too tall figure again. And then a sound hit the motel room wall from the other side. 3 knocks. Slow, heavy, familiar. Someone was in the room next to mine, knocking back. I covered my mouth with my sleeve to muffle my breathing. I thought maybe if I didn't react, it would go away. Instead, it spoke. "Watch." The voice wasn't muffled by the wall. It was as clear as if someone was speaking right next to me, inches from my ear. "Watch with me." I squeezed my eyes shut. My heartbeat thrashed like a trapped animal. Something scraped down the motel wall, a slow drag of fingernails, or bone, or something else entirely. Then, silence. My phone vibrated. I grabbed it like a lifeline. A text from my neighbor back home. "Someone's knocking on your door. It's been 10 minutes. They're calling your name. They said they'll wait." I dropped my phone onto the bed, as if it were burning me. The TV static got louder, the shape inside the screen getting clearer, taller, leaning toward the glass, like it was pushing against reality. I had to get out, had to run, had to breathe. I grabbed my bag, flew out of the motel room, and sped out of the parking lot without looking back. The entire ride was a blur of dark roads, headlights, and the faint glow of static that kept reflecting in my side mirror, no matter how many times I angled it away. I ended up back in my hometown by sunrise. I figured daylight would help, make things feel normal. It didn't. My apartment building looked wrong. Too still, too quiet, too aware. Everything inside me screamed not to go in, but I needed clothes, money, something to keep surviving what was happening to me. I stepped inside the building. My neighbor's door, the one that had the message scratched into it before, had a new message carved deep into the wood. He's in the tape. At first I didn't understand. Then I saw my own apartment door. Someone had taped something to it. A VHS tape in a plastic case. Same strip of red duct tape across the spine. Same writing in black marker. Do not watch. Especially at 7 p.m. My stomach flipped, my hands went icy. Every part of me knew this wasn't from a person, not anymore. This was bait, a lure, a calling card. I took the tape. I don't know why. The hallway lights flickered. My door creaked open on its own, just an inch. A whisper drifted out through the crack. Welcome back. I ran again. Didn't think, didn't breathe, didn't exist. Just motion, desperation, escape. I didn't stop until I reached my car. I threw my bag in the passenger seat, slammed the door, and locked it. Something knocked on the window immediately. 3 times. I didn't look. I shoved the key in the ignition, turned it, and peeled out of the lot so fast I nearly hit the curb. Only after I was a full mile away did I finally look at the passenger seat. The tape wasn't in my bag anymore. It was sitting beside me, closer, waiting. The sun dipped low on the horizon. My radio flickered. My phone buzzed non-stop with numbers I didn't recognize. And the tape, somehow, clicked open like a mouth forming an invitation. Behind me, in the backseat, something shifted in the mirror. Tall, bent, head tilted slow, like it had been sitting with me the entire time. I don't remember the drive, just the feeling of something behind me, leaning in closer every time I blinked. The tape sat on the passenger seat like it had always belonged there, the red duct tape strip glowing faintly in the dusk. It didn't look old anymore. The plastic seemed almost warm, like something inside was alive. By the time I reached the outskirts of town, the road ahead of me blurred. The radio flickered with bursts of static that weren't random. They rose and fell like breathing. My phone screen lit up again and again with the same unknown number. Every buzz made the air colder, heavier. The sky outside went dark, too fast. Like the sun had been shoved below the horizon, like someone had manually dragged it down. I pulled into an empty rest stop, lungs shaking. The engine ticked. The world was silent. Then my headlights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. I reached for the tape, intending to throw it out the window. But before my fingers touched it, the static on the radio spoke. Not a voice, just one word formed in the noise. Play. I choked on my breath and slammed both hands over my ears. The static swelled louder, filling the car from every direction. The windows vibrated. My chest tightened. I could feel him, the thing, waiting behind me, head tilted, patience rotting into hunger. I stumbled out of the car and nearly fell onto the asphalt. The air outside wasn't any safer. The shadows between the trees looked too deep, shifting in ways shadows shouldn't. My car door creaked open on its own. The tape slid out of the passenger seat, dragged itself halfway across the seat, stopped at the edge, waiting. I backed away until I hit the concrete wall of the restroom building. My breathing echoed. My heartbeat thrashed. Every instinct screamed to run. But my legs felt welded to the ground. The trees rustled. Something big moved between them. Tall, thin, bent, watching. The rest stop lights flickered, then died. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Just one message this time, from Sam. "You can't outrun him, you have to return it." My throat tightened. I typed back with trembling fingers. "Return it where?" No reply. The tape scraped across my car seat again, the sound sharp enough to make my teeth ache. I forced myself to step forward. Grab it and get back into the car. The air inside was colder now, like something had been sitting in the back seat the entire time. The tape was warm in my hands, too warm. I didn't want to watch it, didn't want to hold it, didn't want to breathe near it. But I had one thought left that made any sense. Return it to where it started, Sam's house. I drove back faster than I've ever driven in my life. The closer I got, the worse it got. The static followed me down every road. Every streetlight flickered off as I passed. My GPS glitched. My headlights dimmed. My mirrors filled with tall silhouettes, leaning across the pavement, as if they were keeping pace with my car. When I reached Sam's neighborhood, the entire street looked dead. Every house dark. Every curtain drawn. Every driveway empty. Like the whole place had been abandoned decades ago. Sam's house sat in the center, like a corpse of wood and shingles. The front window glowed faintly with static, and the basement, behind those 11 locks, thumped. Slow, rhythmic, hungry. I stepped out of the car with the tape in my hand. My skin crawled instantly. The air felt thick, like walking through someone's breath. The front door didn't wait for me. It opened on its own. Sam stood inside, pale as bone, eyes hollow like he hadn't slept in years. He didn't greet me, didn't yell, didn't warn. He just whispered, "You brought it back." I nodded. He closed his eyes like he was preparing for something painful. "Follow me." He led me down the hallway, toward the basement door, toward the locks, toward the thudding that shook the floorboards. One lock clicked open by itself, then another, then another. A slow, unnatural sequence that wasn't controlled by human hands. "Sam," I stammered. He didn't look at me. "He wants the tape," Sam said. "It belongs to him." A cold truth sank into my chest, like a hook. The tape wasn't cursed because it was old. It was cursed because it was a door, a bridge, a way in. The 9th lock clicked open. "Put it through," Sam whispered. "What?" "The tape. Slide it under the door, before he reaches the 12th lock." The pounding grew louder. The wood shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Something huge slammed against the other side, groaning with the weight of bone and static and memory. I dropped to my knees and shoved the tape toward the crack beneath the door. The 10th lock cranked open with a metallic scream. I froze. The tape didn't fit. The crack was too small. My heart stopped. The 11th lock twisted. Sam grabbed my shoulders. "Break it! Break the case!" My hands were shaking so hard I fumbled the plastic. The pounding behind the door grew violent, shaking the entire frame, shaking my bones. The 12th lock, the final lock, started to turn. I smashed the tape against the floor. Once, twice, 3 times. It cracked, shattered, splintered open, and something inside exhaled. Not air, static. It poured out like smoke, crawling into the floor, into the walls, into the wood, into the old television upstairs. The pounding stopped. The final lock froze halfway through its turn. Then, silence. A horrible, suffocating silence. The static that had been filling the house faded like a dying heartbeat. The air went still. Sam collapsed against the wall, shaking. "You did it," he whispered. "You broke the signal." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. But then, Upstairs, the old Zenith TV clicked on. Static filled the house, and the voice that had chased me across towns screamed through the motel walls, whispered through my door, spoke again. Soft, patient, grateful. You watched with me. The basement door creaked, not from pounding, from someone gently opening it. From the inside, Sam's eyes went wide. Run, and I did. I bolted out the front door, across the dead lawn, into my car, and sped away so fast the gravel spit behind my tires. I didn't look back, not even when something stepped onto the porch. Not even when the porch light flickered. Not even when the house behind me glowed with static. I don't know where I'm going now. I don't know if I broke the curse or invited it deeper. I don't know if he's following me, or if he's already here. All I know is that at 7 p.m., my rearview mirror flickered, and for a split second, I saw a tall, bent figure sitting in the back seat, tilting its head, waiting for the show to start.